I have an immensely exciting video for you today. Not really, it's about sandpaper. However, if you are somebody that uses sandpaper, you're a woodworker, carpenter, this video might actually be really cool for you. Let me explain why. So last month I was able to go to the Lowe's Creator event, and Gator had a booth. A lot of companies had booths, but Gator had a booth and they had some really cool stuff. Now, I brought Gator to the channel before and I show you their sandpaper. However, this is a little bit different than anything I've ever seen. And it's because of the wording on the package. Hold on, let me focus. There you go. So it states APX UltraFilm, and there's a reason why this is so freaking important and why it's also real nice-like. So let me show you what makes this a little bit different than every other sandpaper you probably use. I'm gonna show you whether or not it works. I know it works because I've seen it work. What's up, phone? Hence the reason I'm bringing it to you. And also, this is gonna be a 1 of 3 video featuring different products, which I also find pretty real nice-like. So let's just get into it. All right, so what type of sandpaper are we looking at today? Well, we're gonna have the orbital sander paper here. We're also gonna do the quarter sanding sheets right here. And you can see we have all different types of grits. We got 120, 100, 150, 180. We got 80 grit. We even got 40 grit. Now, before I show you why this is different than any other sandpaper I've used before, I want to talk to you a little bit about grit. I know a lot of you know about this and some of you might not know about this. We have a 40 grit here and we have a 220 grit. A 220 grit versus a 40 grit, the lower the number, the more grit you're going to have. So if you're really trying to take off some nasty paint, just stuff that's really hard to get off, a 40 grit is a really, really good way to go. Now 220, even though it's not the highest grit, 220 is a lot more for like finishing work, cleanup work. And that's why it's good to have different types of grit in the shop. So for example, if I need to take off the nasty and I use the 40 grit, really got in there and removed a lot of that stuff, well, I want to step up my grit so I can reduce those scratches. So once I went from a 40, I can go to an 80. That's going to help reduce those scratches. Then I can go to a 100 grit, and then I can go to a 120 grit, and then a 150 grit, and I can just keep going up. And really, when it comes to sandpaper, the sky's the limit. So I can just bring my number up higher and higher, really reduce those scratches. And it depends really on how smooth you want that woodage to be. So that's why there's so many different types of grit. All right, so let's break this down and explain to you why this is different from anything else I've used. It's the UltraFilm. So you have a premium abrasive where the grit is bonded to a plastic film instead of paper or cloth backing. And that's a huge upgrade from the old stuff that we usually use. Now, the breakdown is, number 1, material versus paper. Standard paper uses a paper backing and can be inconsistent. Well, in the thickness anyway. So you have the UltraFilm that uses a high strength uniform plastic film, and why that matters because the film is perfectly flat. The abrasive grains sit at a uniform height, and this prevents stray deep scratches that sometimes happen with paper back discs. All right, so number 2, another reason why this is different from a lot of the other sandpapers that I've used is because of something you've all heard of before, and that's edge wear when it comes to your sandpaper. Especially when you're using orbital sanders, you know what happens. You sort of twist it a little bit or go up on an edge. It starts eating up around the edges of your sandpaper. Next thing you know, your sandpaper's toast. You got to toss it out, and then you got to get a new piece of sandpaper. So yeah, these have resistant edge wear protection. So again, if you've ever sanded a 90-degree corner and had the sandpaper snap or fray immediately, you know my struggle. And what it does is the film backing is incredibly tear resistant. You can sand right up against edges, corners, and even nails or screws without the disc shredding. Now, the third thing about this sandpaper is the anti-clog. So basically, the Aluminex and the clog resist labels on my package refer to a special coating on this. And basically what it does, as I'm sanding the wood, the resin, and dust, usually load up or clog the grit, making the paper useless even if the grit is still sharp. The UltraFilm is designed to shed that dust, keeping the cutting surface clean for much longer. You also have the 8-hole smart vent pattern on your disc, which basically, paired with a vacuum attached to random orbital sanders, the film backing allows for more efficient airflow than porous paper. It pulls the dust through and the holes and away from the work surface more effectively, which keeps your lungs cleaner and your projects smoother. I think that's pretty real nice-like. And if you're somebody that is in the woodworking, not only do they have the random orbital sander discs, they have the sheet sanding paper like I showed you with the same type of technology. But they also have the detail sanding sandpaper. So a lot of different stuff coming out from Gator. Really happy to see that because, well, this competition out on the market and it helps us as a consumer. And the Gator stuff, you know, the reptilian, that stuff is real nice like as well. I really like
listen, it's shaped like a Christmas tree. I know it's supposed to be scales and everything, but it looks like a Christmas tree, but it does a really good job working that dust up through the sandpaper and into the dust collection system. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll put that at the end of this one. Let me know what you think. Have you used this, or if you're planning on using this sandpaper? Love hearing that sweet feedback. Get subscribed, hit the bell notification. Don't forget to smash the like button on this one here. I'll also put this stuff in a shopping cart attached to the bottom of this video for you to check it out. With that, we'll be back with more videos soon.